Welcome to the ITGS podcast, Extra Credit ITGS podcast. My name is Victor. This is episode 1. They're listening. The Extra Credit ITGS podcast is a show that covers current tech trends and explores them through the lens of ITGS. Today we're going to be talking about a new feature in Google Docs, which is called voice typing. Of course, we'll be talking about the IT system, and we'll discuss the impacts. So let's get started. The story, well, it's been widely reported, and I pulled up the article from PC World. How to use voice dictation in Google Docs. Apparently, last December, the feature was added to Google Docs where you can actually dictate, and Google Voice will type anything that you say. I have a document set up here, and we can turn it on and do a little demonstration. So this is a demonstration of Google Voice typing. A few things to note is the speed. It's very fast, and the accuracy. If you're talking naturally and if you have a good intonation, let's say, it works very well. It doesn't handle pauses very well, and sometimes it mishears or transcribes, I should say, with errors. It's not 100% accurate, but it is pretty accurate. And you can see the little gray lines under the text, which are actually places where you can correct. Okay, let's stop the demonstration right here. You can go back and read and correct things. For example, demonstration. So this is a demonstration of, and it says, did you mean whatever? Actually, I'll erase that. Google Voice typing. And there's other places where it's saying, well, did you really mean this, right? It's trying to guess if I meant add. Good day. A good. It says accuracy. It heard accuracy. I don't know. Let's say. You see, so handles bosses and actually pauses. That's what I want to say. All right. So you can see how it works. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. It's nice. It's novel. And let's talk about what's happening in terms of the IT system. Of course, the input that I have here is my voice. It's through the use of the microphone, and it's taking my voice, a recording of it, and sending it through the internet to cloud servers, Google's cloud servers. In there, it's being processed by an artificial intelligence algorithm, which is translating it into text. It's actually using a neural network to do a lot of the guessing, and that's how it does it so fast. And also the benefit of the neural network as the algorithm that is powering the voice typing or the speech-to-text transcription, the advantage is that it's learning as it goes. So it's getting better. Every time I correct the transcription, it takes that information, that correction, and feeds it into the system so that the next time it'll take it into account when it processes the next piece of speech. So it's the system is actually being trained, and it's not only being trained by using Google Docs. Actually, Google Docs is like the latest of the incarnations of this technology, because Google already did it for voice search. And I think that the earliest incarnation of this was Google Voice, which was a service that where you could have a Google phone number, and if you didn't want to answer, Google would pick up the phone call for you, listen to the message, and then turn it into text and send you a text message of whatever the message that the voice message was. That was the first incarnation I remember of the technology. Then it was implemented in Android, in Google Search and the Google Search app, so you can actually search by voice. And it's on the browser in the PC, or in the personal computer. It's been integrated into search as well. You can actually search by voice, and in Google Translate as well. The Google Translate app in Android and in iOS and on the web. So it's being used there, and this is the latest incarnation. And actually, the interesting thing about it is that as a technology, Google offers the Cloud Speech API for any developer who wants to use it and integrate it into their system, into their app or their software. So you could actually create an app that uses the same machine learning algorithm and artificial intelligence algorithm that does this in Google Docs. Talking about, so that's the processing part. Talking about the app output, the interesting thing that's happening is that the speech API, or the algorithm that is doing the transcription, is returning text results in real time. So actually, it's really interesting because the voice is streaming to the server, and as it is translated, the text is being streamed back, and that's why you see the little dots. And let me turn it on again to just show you. That's why you see the little dots there, kind of like moving and changing as we speak, and as the stream of audio goes up into the cloud, and the text stream comes down from the server into my screen over here or the app, right? Let me stop there. Okay. Now, one thing that the algorithm is also doing is it's predicting the text. So it's using, kind of like if you've used any text prediction keyboard on your phone, it's doing some of that to kind of predict the words and the context, etc. So that's really, really interesting. If you want to read more about the technology itself, the Google Cloud Platform, what's it called? Cloud Speech API gives you more information about that. So it's being used in many different areas, and right now in Google Docs it is meant to be used by students, for example. And you have to wonder, what is the use case in education, for instance? Could a student use this to increase productivity? It is also being offered in business, like having Google Docs do text, speech to text. The idea is that it could increase productivity for a writer or for the secretary who has to transcribe a lot of documents. Instead of typing them all, she can or he can speak to the computer and have the voice transcribed, so in order to do it faster. There are some positive impacts, of course. This is really a good news for example, people with disabilities. So let's say that if you have a disability where it is difficult for you to type or to use a keyboard, this might be an option for you to be able to communicate a lot easier or faster, right? Where in other instances you might have had to type in order to interact, let's say in chat rooms, or to have a blog, or to interact in social media. Now you have this tool, and I'm talking about specifically the Cloud Speech API product, in order to do that. Another positive impact is that, maybe I think I see it possible to increase productivity in business. Have something transcribed. Let's say that you have a lot of documents that you need to transcribe, or a lot of meetings, or a lot of making things searchable, like phone conversations. Let's say that you want them to be searchable. That could be something interesting. YouTube has a use case right now. They are actually doing that, where in YouTube, if you and it uses the very same technology. If you go to YouTube and you turn on subtitles right here, it says
Hey guys,
off.
Greg here.
Oops.
Some people
Sorry. So
ask me how I live in.
if you go to the subtitles right here, it says off, and it says English auto-generated. And when you do that, and I'm going to just lower the volume, it is the same. The auto-generated subtitles are the same technology that is working in Google Docs, which is adding subtitles to the video in real time from the audio, right? And that's really an interesting use case. And because it's learning from other products, from Google Search, from Google Docs, these subtitles are actually going to get more accurate as time goes by, as the system learns a little bit more, right? So this is another interesting use case, because it makes the video searchable. So I can search for the actual words that are being said, right? So that's another positive impact, making all this video content in YouTube searchable, for instance. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the problems that we might find. Some of the negative impacts that I feel are important to mention are: there's an issue in terms of people and machines, how we interact with machines. For example, it might be more difficult, or it might delay some people, or some people might not want to learn to type as well, because there's this new way of interacting with the machine, which is the voice. There's also kind of like a job displacement problem in terms of, there are a lot of jobs for this actual task. Like, there are people whose job is to add subtitles to movies and to videos and whatnot. There is people who get paid for transcriptions, for transcribing audio. And suddenly a machine is doing this fairly accurately right now, but it is getting better at it as time goes by. So you have to question, what is going to happen with those people. They're going to be displaced in terms of their job and their livelihood. So that's important to think about, and I think it could be a negative impact. Another negative impact or an issue is reliability. Obviously, there is a reliability issue. It is not 100% accurate in the transcription. You saw that there's no punctuation in the transcription, so you actually have to go back and correct the punctuation, or you have to speak the punctuation. But that only, in my experience, speaking the punctuation only works in English. Let me give you a demonstration of that. So this is a transcript with punctuation, period. Do I have to speak the punctuation every time? Question mark. And the answer there is yes, you have to speak the punctuation, but it actually only works in English. So that makes it a little less natural, using the functions and the voice typing function. It makes it less natural, right? I think that one thing that probably the developers are working on is understanding the punctuation or the pauses in speech and actually introducing the punctuation in the same way that the text is transcribed or recognized. Also, you need a quiet environment and a good microphone, and that's going to be essential if you want to use this tool. If you're using it in a busy room, it's going to be more difficult, right? And all of that affects reliability. Then there's the big concern, which is privacy. The fact that my voice is being transmitted over the internet to Google servers in order for it to be processed means that they have all my data, all the contents of this document at some point is being stored in Google servers. Whether they use that information, whether they keep that information, well, that has to do with the policies for using this tool. But the fact that they have it raises privacy issue. Let's say that I use this tool to dictate sensitive information, sensitive documents, my will, I don't know, data about my company, data about a deal that is going on that is it's supposed to be secret, for instance. That's an issue. Now, it's no different than typing into Google Docs, because the moment I type into Google Docs, well, my data is being saved in the cloud in Google servers as well. In this case, also, my microphone, my voice is being saved in Google servers. So there's an obvious privacy issue. And Google's terms of service actually do outline what they can do with the data that Google collects from me, and they do address the issue of privacy. But in the end, it comes down to trust. Do you trust a company like Google to be responsible about what they do with the data that they collect? Okay, so looking at a solution for that, which I think is the most the biggest issue, or the issue that should give most people pause, I think that the solution is self-monitoring, right? Be mindful of what you are doing with this tool, what you're using it for, and to be aware that your data is being transmitted, and make your decisions according to that, right? So you really have to be mindful, monitor yourself, and make sure that you use the tool responsibly, and ask yourself, how much do I trust this company to protect my data? And if there are instances where you say to yourself, well, this information is too sensitive, then you have to exercise your judgment and not use the tool, basically. So that's it. That is the extent of the tool, and those are some of the impacts, I think, positive and negative, that we can discuss. You can find, of course, you can always find links to the original article and more information in the description of the video if you're watching it on YouTube. And feel free to comment and ask questions in the comment section. I'd love to know if you've used this tool. Have you? How does it work for you? Would you feel, I don't know, reluctant to use it, knowing that there are some privacy implications, right? So all of that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Extra Credit ITGS podcast. Have a nice day.